Hi everyone, welcome to Meet the Pros. We're so excited to be back here again on a Tuesday. Hope you're joining us live. If you are, you can absolutely use any of the comments, regardless of what platform you're on, to leave us a comment or ask a question. I'm Katie, I'm here at Ecamm Live headquarters. If you don't know about Ecamm Live yet, it is a live streaming app that we're using to power this broadcast. You can find out more, you can download a trial at ecamm, ecamm.live. I'm really excited to be here today with Kathy Hester. Kathy is a cookbook author. She is an Instant Pot expert, and she just makes some really, really fantastic recipes. So really excited to introduce her to you because I think it's a really interesting use case for all of you live streamers out there who want to be able to demonstrate something, want to be able to show different camera angles. Kathy is a really, really great champion for that. So without further ado, hello, Kathy.
Hey, everybody, and Katie, it's awesome to be here.
Thanks so much for joining
us. I'm so excited.
Seeing you in your kitchen makes me wish that I was in my kitchen and we could do an entire, well, maybe we'll have to do a follow-up where you can guide us through a cooking tutorial because I definitely, I'm a huge fan of my Instant Pot, so.
Well, I'm up for it because I figured as I show you some of the cameras, I have like this secret thing that helps people feel more comfortable about releasing pressure, but it's perfect for video. So it's like, the excitement.
Yeah, exactly, right? We can release pressure on like 4 or 5 different levels because we can release the pressure that we feel inside at going live at the same time as releasing the pressure on our Instapot. So I think we could really play it up in the world of live streaming and pressure cooking. Oh, Kathy, I think we may have lost you.
My thing.
There we are. You're back. Awesome. So I have a whole slew of questions for you. And obviously, if anyone has any questions as we work through, definitely leave them in the comments. We'll be checking the comments all the way through. So why don't we jump off by having you tell us a little bit more about yourself. So when did your first cookbook come out? How did you get into food and cooking?
I was bored in my day job is one of the things. So I had this really great job in a private office and all the goodies, and I was bored out of my mind. So I started a blog because I was going to do a vegan slow cooker cookbook because there wasn't one at that time, and I was going to self-publish, and I blew it off. So I started a blog because I had nothing else to do in my pretty office except something else. And then actually there was a publisher who had been searching for someone to do a vegan slow cooker cookbook. I had no idea about social media or what I should be doing, so I just kind of just threw things out there, and they stuck, and someone found me and said, hey, do you want to write a cookbook for us? And I thought it was a fake. And now, what is it, my 11th cookbook comes out next month. So I've been doing it for about 10 years now. I've eaten meatless since 1983.
Good for you.
Yeah, and I've been vegan for probably 8 or 9 years now. So it's been a long time. I'm not a judgy person, so if you're there and you have a different diet or something, don't just cut off because I don't care what you're eating. It's up to you, right? So I like to feel like I'm the person next door that you could come over and borrow some soy milk from, but isn't going to like give you a hard time.
Awesome.
You know?
Awesome. We all love that.
I have all different kinds of people in my audience, and I that's one of the reasons I'm such a proponent for the live video. Yeah. Honestly, is because even right now you are in my kitchen, right?
Yep.
And so it is like being here and Katie knows me because Katie worked with me at a publishing house that I published with.
I did.
And so Katie, yeah, I'm just me all the time anyhow, so why not use it? People either like it or they don't.
Absolutely. It's a really great segue too, because I know that in the world of publishing, for those of you who don't know, most authors someone reaches out to them because they've built up a platform or they have a brand in some way, or they're really willing to work at it. But it's certainly not, it's not in a lot of ways what you see on TV where, there's a huge cross-country book tour and people sort of sweep the nation. You really need to be able to play off of your strengths and really be able to work, in a number of different ways, which I'm sure, things like live streaming play into that. So I guess how did you first think through how to best market yourself and how to build a brand and how to start a website, and where did live video come into that world?
Okay, and live video's only been in my life for like maybe 2.5, 3 years, so fairly short time compared to all the other things.
Yeah.
So, and I kind of did everything backwards, and that's just typically how I do things.
Yeah.
So like, people come to me and go, how do you write a book proposal? And I'm like, well, I sort of wrote one, but really my agents did it for me. So there's certain things that I have lack of knowledge, but like, I did find, just because of my personality, even going out to connect back in 2010, right? That's a long time in internet years. There were still like Yahoo groups with vegan slow cooker stuff. There was book sites. I kept finding these little tribes of people that were looking for what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so I connected with them. I answered questions, and that's kind of one of my strengths anyhow. Because I love questions. Cheryl has to my wife has to pull me off with a hook, when I'm like speaking live somewhere, because I won't stop as long as people are asking questions. I will answer them.
That's awesome.
And yeah, well, and it's some things that are easy to me and are just one sentence out of my mouth could take someone else hours and hours to research.
Yeah.
And so doing with the live video, like I'm pretty good at describing things in words because I do write, right? I have a blog, I have all these things.
Yeah.
And then you kept hearing video, you must do video. And I was like, no, I will not do video. So I was not going to do video. It was like, die or do video. Let me think about that for a long time. And then I was working with someone, her name is Jenny Melrose, and she's awesome. She does a lot with food and lifestyle bloggers in particular. Okay. And she was like, Kathy, you have to do Facebook Lives. And I was like, no. And we went back and forth, and then I said, okay, I'll pitch it. I'm pitching out to some brands. I will pitch some Facebook Lives. Thinking, I have no examples. No one's going to buy this, right? Well, they bought 3.
So then you were forced to do it.
Figure this out. And I didn't have Ecamm at that point, so things were harder. And you can't really tell from this perspective, but this counter is really long. It's probably like 3.5 feet wide.
Wow.
And so I tried having a camera over there, and it's like 6 feet long. So I'd push the button, and I'd run around the counter and slide in and look terrified, right?
Yep.
It wasn't because I was nervous to talk to people. I was just like jumping over cables that lights are set up on.
You had to hobble together. Yeah, no, exactly.
Right. It was insane. And so, and it's not that I'm saying you can't just use your phone, try to be more mindful than I was. I kept thinking, sure, I can do it. And then we went to some of these other webcams that I don't like that we may use later to show you a setup. And now we use GoPros. Awesome. And we don't use like the new fancy GoPros. We got some older GoPros. And I am testing some setups, which we're not doing right now, using some mirrorless cameras. So I'm hoping that's what we're going to go next. And I'm testing using my phone with an app called Shoot that I just learned about on an Ecamm video yesterday.
Yeah, some of our community members actually had recommended it to us. So we're all sharing great ideas all the way around, but a lot of users are really finding success with that one. So it's good to hear it. And
that's the beauty of video, though, isn't it? You feel like you're just sharing and hanging out with a bunch of friends, and it's really, really nice. So I upgraded from that camera setup to some bad webcams, really bad. And all of this video is still up somewhere, so should you like to find it, you may. And you too can shame me now, but you can just see how I like to leave it up because I do. I'm kind of evangelical now about doing live video because it is so easy and it's so helpful, and I like to leave that so people don't just go, oh, well, your videos look pretty okay, so I must just suck, right? And people think the same thing about cooking.
Yeah.
I get this all the time, well, you're a cookbook author. And I'm like, okay, so I did an online class. I'm going to make up all the recipes we're going to do today right now. I'm going to show you how to develop a recipe.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not magic. Being on video isn't magic. It just means, I think, all the things that I've done in my life. So I've been a web developer, I'm a cookbook author, recipe developer. I used to play in an orchestra. And you can't do any of that stuff if you're not okay with making mistakes and you're trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
Right. I'm probably going to look back on this and see like one of my dog's hairs like prominently on my t-shirt somewhere. And you probably would have never noticed had I not said that just now, right?
Nope, absolutely not.
And I think that that's just, we're so hard on ourselves. And so it's really important to me to try and get people to get over that. And I did find, it took me 6 solid months of every week doing a live, no matter what, before I stopped hating it. And
yep, absolutely. I'm laughing because Diana, welcome Diana, we're so glad you're here. She said that she likes to leave. I think it's a good,
I think it's only fair.
Exactly. I think it's a good thing to do. And I think, I think especially those, and Diana is one of them, in the world of teaching and helping to empower other people to go live, I think it's a really great thing for people to find and see that everyone starts somewhere and gets progressively better. And that goes across anything, whether it's cooking or live videos or any kind of sports you're trying or anything. We all start where we start and we grow and get better from there. So really, really good feedback there. Just scrolling through a couple of comments to see if any questions came up as people are joining. Hi to Midori and Robert. Hi to Jason is on. Frank's on from Mexico. So good to see you, Frank. Jason wants to know, let's see here. Jason would like to know if he can stream music on Facebook Live broadcasts using Ecamm and Stream Deck. Yes, Jason, we will send you more information about that post this. But yeah, definitely you can do that. All right, looks like that's all of our questions. All right, moving through. So, so you're currently using live video. So
I'm currently using live video in a few different ways. So I'm using it on Facebook Live. I do online cooking classes.
Awesome.
So my cooking classes are kind of like me and a little extra intense, right? We try and shove all the information in because you'll pick up what you can get that time and you can watch them again. So my classes are 2 to 3 hours long.
Wow.
That's one of the reasons that we've been using the GoPros instead of working with the mirrorless cameras. We're trying to figure out the power supply issue, but Katie gave me a good way to go, so I'm starting to research that. So
definitely. And so you're predominantly on Facebook, or do you do any multicasting? Are you going out to different platforms?
Oh no. Did you guys hear the doorbell? There's a delivery. And the dog is downstairs, and you might hear the dog. We were doing so well. I do need to look out the window just to make sure it's not. We even have a "Don't ring the doorbell" sign, so apologies, everybody. So let me get back into how we were talking about how, I've been doing Instagram, but I just do Instagram with my phone right now.
Yeah, sure.
I have Restream, which I have not used yet, so I want to try and stream out to different platforms. But what I'm doing right now, because I love the scheduling part of the Facebook Live in Ecamm.
Yeah.
And so what I do is, because I have several pages, I have a private Facebook group, and I post it on my personal page. So I go to my baby group, which is now becoming my bigger group, Plant-Based Instant Pot, because I live stream in there, and it really does get good engagement. So I'll schedule it, then I go in there and I share that as opposed to everything else. So it looks like it goes live all the places at once. I think, and Katie, you're probably the one to tell me, I think there's a way that I can do it now that I've upgraded to Pro, just within Ecamm without doing all the manual stuff.
You can do what's called Facebook cross-posting, so you can post to different pages, but the limitation, like simultaneously post to different pages, but the limitation with that is that it's only going to pull in comments from the main original page. So you can basically allow through Facebook and Ecamm Live for it to appear on other pages, but it's just duplicating the feed. So it's a little bit different than a full simulcasting through Restream or a different tool.
Okay.
But it's definitely something to play around with. Yeah.
And I do want to do that. And I've hesitated about Restream just a little bit because I really I feel like, well, I don't get thousands of people who watch me when I just go live. And right now, most of the time I decide that day or 45 minutes before I'm going to go live. I'm not doing a regular time, which is what I would encourage other people to start to do.
Yeah.
Because it worked really well for me. But like I've been doing organic produce unboxing.
I love that.
I keep seeing everybody unboxing. I'm like, I'll unbox. And people like it still.
People love watching people open boxes. There's just something to it.
Yeah. And this one's, I really like it because it's organic produce and it's fairly affordable. So that's it fits my brand as well. So that's really important. But I hadn't gotten on and done a recipe. And so I did a dry bouillon the other day. And I think it's probably been at least 4 months since I've done an actual recipe in a impromptu live. And I think 4,000 people had seen it within 24 hours, which is really good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
great. Yeah, it is amazing the reach, not only live, but as people start, seeing it in the feed and watching replay. It is amazing. It is amazing how most of the platforms, certainly Facebook, give preference to live video over other different kinds of content. So
it's kind of crazy, honestly. And the one thing I would like to tell people who are just starting to kind of live stream in Facebook and things is have yourself a friend or a ringer who'll come on, and so that if you need someone to ask you questions, or maybe. For me, I'm teaching, so I want people to ask me questions all the time anyhow.
Yeah.
But also, you don't feel like you're just talking to the air.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, because for a while, like Instagram stories, I was just like, I feel like I'm just yelling out my window. It just doesn't, I'm not, I wasn't getting that response back. But the more someone's there and you're talking to them like you would talk to a normal person, the more the people are going to want to watch.
Yeah.
But don't expect to have if you see your friend or a competitor in the same field has 4,000 people, doesn't mean 4,000 people watch them live either.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a slow build, and some of it too has to do with the time too. So certainly I think building that level of consistency is great, but also testing and seeing what time may work best for your audience, because often you'll have people that are in different time zones, or that are in maybe they're in like a really different time zone. Like maybe you have a bigger audience in like Australia than you realize. We struggle with that here because we certainly have a huge international group, and they're like ridiculously dedicated. There are times where we're like, isn't it 2 a.m. there? But they're still, they're still on. But that is not the case for everyone. So it certainly makes sense to, think through exactly what time works best for what you're trying to accomplish and for, who may be on, and being forgiving about the fact that, even if you only have a few people on for the first little bit, or even as you go forward, doesn't necessarily mean that that's your entire reach. That's just, that's just where you're starting, and that's just where the video is starting. Right. No, I agree. And don't let yourself get disappointed. Just keep going. And I will tell you something that no one else will say, because this is what I did. So. And I will tell you what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to watch yourself after every video. Well, if I had done that, I would have quit. Yeah. So if you are as neurotic and really hate it a lot, have a friend watch it every time and give you a few choice suggestions of things that you can improve. That's really good. And that way you don't have to go, what is that thing on my face? And when did it happen? Right? Like, I feel like I have a dimple someplace that I'm not supposed to have one. Or, you're going to start obsessing about these things that are not going to help you do better live video, whereas your friend can help you. Yeah, that's actually really, I should do that more often. I'm always like absolutely terrified to go back and rewatch things because I hate seeing myself on video. So yeah, that's certainly good advice that I will take home. Hopefully everyone. And I think that's like 95% of all people. The 5% that aren't supermodels
aren't like, ooh, yay, video. But so like for me, when I get on, obviously I'm of the non-supermodel part of the equation.
Right there with you.
I'm online not to like go, look at me, I'm so awesome. I'm online to teach people some things that are going to help make their lives better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, most of the time it's about cooking. I'm also doing some stuff and some classes with live video too to help some other food professionals be able to do this a little bit easier, because there's something magical about your fans being in your kitchen watching you cook.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It feels like an inside perspective. And I think that when it comes particularly to food and to recipes, there's an emotional response as well. And having someone show you how to do something or even give that kind of extra above and beyond. There's always a story behind a recipe, right? So there's like the feeling, there's the ingredients, but there's the little like tips and tricks that you wouldn't easily be able to pull out of a cookbook or wouldn't have necessarily the same resonance as if someone is showing it to you or demonstrating it. So I certainly think that live video is incredibly powerful for that. And really similarly for people who are doing any kind of like craft project or like anything that's really like tactile with your hands. I think that's why YouTube in so many ways is so powerful, is all those instructional how-to videos that people just need to be able to see it. And live video allows you not only to see it, but to be able to engage and ask those questions and get that immediate response, which is really neat, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you use so obviously if you're physically cooking and you're chopping things up and you're making recipes, it's probably slightly more difficult for you to do things like use our commenting feature to pull comments on screen. Do you just do you have someone helping you do that kind of thing, or do you just monitor and talk through questions as you see them coming up without actually adding them to your feed?
I do talk through the questions, and that's one thing I want to try and look at, because so when I'm doing the classes, I have another computer over here and I have my laptop right here that I'm seeing Katie in, which is why I keep looking here every once in a while.
All good.
Are you still there? And so Cheryl is over here, and a lot of times, so with Ecamm, when I'm doing it in a private group, they have to approve their names being shown.
Yeah.
And I work in general with an older population who have dietary needs. And so because of that, they're not all going to click.
Yeah.
So Cheryl was usually looking at that and kind of telling me, because some of these, I probably have like 16 classes kind of already.
Yeah.
And so some of the people have been with me that long. So if I see their name, I go, oh, you're allergic to tomatoes. This is how you're going to change this to make it work for you.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, and it gives us they're really awesome. I do feel like doing live video has given me a closer relationship with the people who are kind of, I hate to reduce them to this term, but you would say in our business as raving fans.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's so much more. I mean, if my dog is sick, they ask how he is.
That's awesome.
I mean, they're super wonderful, wonderful people. And I even have one woman who takes all my classes. She was like, oh my God, I can't wait to be in your kitchen again, she says in my group. And after, she was like, it was so awesome, we made this.
They're invested. They have that level of like, it feels really personal to them. Like they have that level of high investment in what you're doing.
And it is. And so what I like about the classes, and why in the classes I probably would never put the comments up like that.
Yeah.
Because, so one of the reasons this is so big is like, if I do 5 to 6 recipes. So if I'm doing Instant Pot recipes, I probably have 4 Instant Pots going.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's intense. But they get to go watch the video as many times as they want, and they get PDFs of the recipes. So it's not as scary as it sounds.
Sure.
But it's 3 hours that I don't go to the bathroom.
I was going to say more scary for you than it is for them watching. It sounds like you were juggling a lot.
I love it, though. I like kind of being on the edge like that. And then having people ask me things like, I remember I was in the middle of a class and someone's like, I see a butternut squash behind you. I'm scared to peel those. I'm like, dude, let's do that right now. Right? It's not that hard. I'll show you. And if I cut myself, we'll know to never do it again. But, it's the live video excitement. But I would like to do some of that, or try pulling up some comments when maybe during some shorter lives, like a shorter live for me, like dry bouillon, right? That should be 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Pour some stuff in a bowl and blend it up.
Yeah.
38 minutes. But we talked about the difference between Mexican oregano, regular oregano, marjoram. I showed them. I have a way that I season foods by smelling things and smelling the seasoning that you might want to use.
Okay.
And to empower everybody. Even if you're watching this and you've never cooked before, you can smell two things and decide if you want to put them in your mouth at the same time. I promise you.
This is legitimately how I season food, so it's making me feel better.
Yay! Then you were part of my club and you didn't even know it. I only know one other person who talks about this. And so since we do that, and I really involve them and I smell it and I let them see my ick face and my yay face and then they really feel like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for them. I want them to be able to feel like they can do it. And when I'm doing a live like that, people will ask questions. Well, I like Greek oregano, and we might end up in a conversation, but I do address the people and answer the question. As much as I can, I find in live video, people, and even me, even though I don't like to admit it, love to hear my name. I do not want it to be
I always love seeing my name and things. So I definitely exactly. I'm guilty of that. I'm absolutely guilty of that.
I think that's another way too, because I'm saying the same people's names. I'm learning what they like. I know who's going to show up at everything, and then also the new people come in. I had someone ask me on my YouTube channel, which is right now, I do the bad YouTube thing. I put my Facebook Lives up there. but it's working for me right now, but I know it's wrong, so don't anybody else do it. I will not make you the bad person I am. What was kind of cool is then, because I am having these conversations, or someone will be like, oh, is Cheryl still at work or whatever, because they've taken a bunch of classes. And someone said, so who's Cheryl? And so then I was like, oh, Cheryl's my wife, and she helps me do video stuff and teach classes. And then it was very interesting. Her response was, that's awesome. Now I feel like I'm sitting at the cool kids table, because I know. And I was like, that would have never occurred to me. It never occurred to me that was something cool, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, they keep, article after article that are coming out about, marketing moving into 2020 and beyond, it's really so focused on, one-on-one conversations and personalization and, smaller groups. People want to feel like they're part of something, and they want to be able to have that deep understanding of the brands and the people that they work with and buy from and have a relationship with. It's not, they don't want anything that's big or faceless anymore. They want to have a better understanding of exactly where they're getting their, advice and products and services from. So I think it's really cool. It's a really cool time that you can really invite people right into your space and be able to get an immediate understanding of what they want to learn and how, you can grow your business that way in a way that you would never have been able to years ago. So it's really cool.
And I appreciate it so much, because I'm lucky to be doing my business at this time.
Yeah.
Because if I would have to be a big, large, kind of walled off person, that's just never going to work for me. Because before it was cool to be imperfect, I was already imperfect.
That's amazing.
Everybody's like, oh, don't be perfect. And I'm like, because I did have one woman who took my class, and she was like, well, the food styling wasn't quite up to par, and I didn't like the camera angles. And I was like, and in my head, I'm like, oh, sweetheart, you were in the wrong place, right? Because we're here to cook. We're not here to, this is not the Food Network, right? No one's doing my makeup and hair, and I don't have 4 food stylists to the side. I'm letting you see the stuff we just cooked in a bowl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, a couple more questions, and then I'm happy to take questions from anyone watching, and then we can maybe do a quick studio tour of your home studio. So I would love to know what Ecamm Live features you swear by. So what are your go-to with the kinds of live video that you're doing? What are the most important aspects to the tool for you?
Okay, I will say the newest one, and I've just started doing this month, has been using the virtual cam, which I'm using now.
Awesome.
And I'm like, how awesome is this? Because I just upgraded to Pro, so it wasn't available to me, and that's also why some of the Pro features I'm just not as familiar with yet. The thing I have used absolutely from the beginning is multiple cameras and how easy it is to switch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because literally in front of me in the thing are 2 to 4 or however many cameras I have, and you click the picture and it shows the stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure huge too as you're showing all the different, shots, and we'll show this in a minute, but shots of your hand and you're being able to
even this, like this is an overhead one.
Yep.
This is the one that's straight from my computer.
Yep.
You can see my Dobie up there. Big Harry Potter fan.
Love it.
And then we can come back here. So, but it's so easy, and it allows for this can be great, and I can move the camera back so you can see a little more of the counter as I'm working, but nothing, and actually I'll even just pull an Instant Pot over here, is the same as seeing this, right? I can talk about these things, but if I'm moving it and poking it and showing it to you, letting you see food or water or whatever's in there stirring, I think that's priceless. And it's the reason I wanted to start using Ecamm, and I figured, honestly, I thought it was going to be really hard since Cheryl was kind of looking into the cameras, and I just really didn't know about any of it, and I was able to use it immediately.
That's so great to hear. Yeah, I mean, I think that's really huge is that, we have customers from all different kinds of backgrounds that are streaming all kinds of different things, and I think it's important to remember that, we're really trying to make it so that anyone can get up and running. So you don't need to be a professional marketer. You don't need to be running like a heavily produced interview show to be able to take advantage of live streaming. You can do something like demo a recipe. You can do something like, do a house tour if you're a real estate agent. You can, there's aspects of live video that work for virtually every different possible career or thing you're trying to show. If you have a story to tell, you can bring it live, and we can do it easily, I promise.
And I mean really easily, because Cheryl was, at this point, she was changing cameras or microphones or something on me every week. So that's also what stretched out the 6 months. So I'd be like, yes, I've got it. And then I come back, oh, she has this camera isn't like the other camera. Where's the on button?
Yep.
Right? And it's not that I take cookbook photos professionally, so it's not like I don't know anything. But if you have 2 GoPros and the buttons are all in different places, it's a little confusing, no matter who you are, I think.
No promises that the gear is easy. Software may be easy.
That's nothing to do with Ecamm. That has everything to do with Cheryl. And once we've been using these GoPros, and this, the reason I use like a little lapel mic is because when I'm teaching, I go all the way back there to wash out something, or I go in the refrigerator, or
you need to be on the move.
Who knows what I'm going to do? I'm middle-aged, right? I'm going to forget something somewhere. And people enjoy that. They're like, oh, I've forgotten things too.
Yep.
Being imperfect is awesome in all the ways. And for a while, we were just using one set microphone. And so I would just try and talk louder as I walked away. Spoiler, bad idea.
But you know what? You tried it, and you figured out what you needed to upgrade to, or what you needed to figure out to solve the problem. So it's I think so many times we want to wait until we have all the boxes checked or have all, the entire perfect setup before you bother with going live. And I think so many things you're going to learn along the way. So I think it's a great, whether it's, oh, whoops, I didn't realize that I needed that. Like you literally can just start with your computer, your built-in webcam. I have, microphones right now that are on my headset. Like you can really start with the basics and then figure out what you actually need before, investing money and investing time and figuring out that you don't actually need this super, super high level setup. Maybe what you need is actually down here for you to be really effective. So I think it makes a ton of sense, even though I'm sure at the moment it was
cheap, right?
Yeah.
Start cheap until you know you're going to do it. And I agree. So I started with my webcam on my computer, and then we had a little second webcam, and then I wanted an overhead.
Yep.
And so we've just kind of added things in. I've just recently added a couple of new lights in to test. But you just do with what you have. And like even this, and I think it works really kind of well.
Yeah, I like it.
This is like $70 or something, and it has batteries.
There you go. Yep.
So even some of the things that I like the best cost the least.
Yeah, it is amazing how that works out. Awesome.
Except for the Sony cameras, right? But we won't talk about that.
Except for cameras, yeah. Cameras are usually pretty pricey. Although it's amazing what you can get off just like a Logitech webcam or even your built-in. Like it definitely is amazing. Cameras have come a long way. Or your phone. People have expensive phones now that have amazing built-in cameras. You can use that as a camera source. So there's certainly options.
Right, and even older Sonys or Olympuses or other mirrorless cameras, if you're not looking to do 4K, and if you're doing live video, chances are you probably aren't.
Yeah. Right?
We're not making movies like for the screen.
Some of us aren't.
That's true too. I got a little bit excited because I'm trying some 4K stuff, but then I realized how much I'm filling up of my hard drive on just 1080.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me rethink this a little bit. So I think it's very easy, and people do this with Instant Pots too, to go, oh my God, the new one is twice as much and it has 7 more buttons. Well, those are 7 buttons you're never going to touch. Yeah. Let me tell you right now. Yeah. And so when I go and I look for a new camera, I'm like, but this one does these 7 things, right? So you have to kind of step back. But you can get something, reasonable that's an older camera to do 720 or 1080, probably for the same price that you can get GoPros or some webcams for.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's see your setup. I'm going to switch over so it's just you. One sec. There we go. Woo!
All right.
Look at that.
Let's see if I can do this.
Yep.
So, okay. And on either side of that are 2 soft boxes. Those, the new LED lights are the ones with the barn doors on the farther ends.
Wow.
And they have about 3 times as many lights as the 2 in the middle.
Do you have this set up all the time? I feel like your kitchen, you
yes.
In the middle of the night, you must walk in and be like, oh, I'm on a movie set.
Well, it was really fun. And so you can see the overhead camera too, right? Mm-hmm. So this is just a tripod with an arm.
That's awesome.
And so we can move that. And then this is the forward-facing camera that I've been talking to you guys on.
That's awesome.
And you're seeing this side from the crappy webcam that I refuse to use anymore. So forgive me for how bad the quality of that was. And we do keep it set up. I am lucky that the upstairs is open kind of set up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys could see, but on the sides for the mess. But on the other side is like our dining room table. So we just move all this stuff close to the counter and move the dining room table a little bit. Having it set up is really helpful for me because that means if I just kind of go, I think I'm going to use the last of the sunchokes, but I promised someone I would show them how to use sunchokes, and then I can just go live and make dinner at the same time.
That's a win.
I like it.
That sounds absolutely amazing. All right, now I'm very sad that I'm not close by and can't come by for sunchokes because that sounds awesome.
Oh, I totally wish you were nearby. You would be here all the time.
I would be.
But I had a friend, Virginia Willis, who's a Southern cookbook author, and she's also worked a lot in TV. So she assisted Martha Stewart and produced Bobby Flay.
Wow.
And she's my friend too. Isn't that weird?
That's a win.
So she's super fancy, and I make stuff in my kitchen. And but we taught a live video class together, and she stayed here because she was teaching basically media training for live TV.
Wow.
And I was teaching about live video, which are two. They overlap, but basically she says, turn this way and wear these, and I'm just like, put on your Harry Potter t-shirt and show that personality. And she's telling you all the things that you should do on TV, which don't listen to me and do what I do on TV. But there's the disclaimer. You can have it go across the bottom. But she came in here, and so I think of her as being in so many TV studios and stuff, and she came in, she's like, oh my God, you have a studio in your kitchen. And I was like, I never thought about it.
I guess I do.
It never occurred to me because it just happened piece by piece, right? Yeah. First there was one camera, then there were two cameras, then there were some extra lights. And, but it is kind of nice. She is setting up something in her basement by getting one of those big work tables Kitty, help me think of the word. You put them in your kitchen. They look like the counters, but they're not, and you can move them around.
Like an island?
Yes, a movable island. Mm-hmm. So she's setting up her basement like that.
Oh,
so
cool.
she's going to have a studio down there with a whole kitchen.
Yeah, so she's able to do like demonstrations and things like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, and obviously those of you who don't have to have kitchens, you don't even need to think about anything like that. But
everyone though has their own, like I think it's a good example to talk through because everyone has their own space and their own thing that they need to be able to pull off. So some people, really absolutely need a green screen because they have a really tiny space and it's like, things on top of everything and really messy, and a green screen helps them hide everything and look like they're in a different place. And, others have a lot of space for a really cool studio and they can position things behind them. Depends on what you're trying to accomplish and how big a space you're able to have and what makes sense for you. Not everyone can go and rent a different space somewhere else. Some people need to do it in an apartment or, at home in their basement or wherever your space is, you can make it work for you. It's pretty amazing the hacks and cool things you can do to really make it seem very professional on, in some cases, not that much of a budget.
I'm looking forward to trying a green screen. I haven't gotten one yet, and I know that Ecamm does some cool stuff.
Yep.
And I think it was a couple of years ago, someone was doing like an online program, but they had made their backdrop look like kind of like a potions class, kind of Harry Potter-ish.
Yeah, you could do some cool things. You might run into some copyright infringement, but you could do some cool things. Yeah.
I'll get someone on Fiverr to draw me something.
There you go. I know it's funny. Like in some cases, a green screen probably makes less sense for what you're doing because you already have your whole kitchen space, which you want to be able to show off. But definitely in different, you might be able to do some fun stuff for sure.
Well, and I'm going to do some more talking head stuff or something else. And so I think then that would be more interesting. Like, I would also tell people that, like, with your comfort level, when I first started doing classes, I was talking to some friends and they wanted me to clear all my stuff out, have clean counters, right? This is me after my kitchen has been cleaned. Okay, this is the clean kitchen. And to do anything else other than that means I carry everything over and I put it on the dining room table, right? To put it back because it's a kitchen. It's a real kitchen that I cook in.
Yeah.
It's not a decorative kitchen. And so for me, going back to kind of that same be yourself, be imperfect, that the one time I did it, it just felt so sterile.
Yeah.
For me. And so, but I think for somebody else, it's exactly going to feel perfect for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it just really depends on what you're trying to accomplish with your video, for sure. Awesome.
Well, I love Ecamm. Love it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We're nearing that mark. So I think unless anyone has any questions, it doesn't look like any have come through. But we really appreciate your time. Kathy, thanks so much for tuning in and for choosing Ecamm. We'll definitely be answering any questions that come up in the comments after we hit the finish up button. So if any questions come in, I'll be on, and I'm sure Kathy can double check too if you have questions about Kathy's setup or anything that she does. But thanks so much for your time.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for making Ecamm.
Oh, well, you are welcome on behalf of the guys. Awesome. Well, I'm going to just click over. Next week, we'll be back same time, same places. We're talking with Chris. He's a comedian and a musician. So we will see you next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Bye, everyone.